So what we're going to be talking about today is working with a human form or a comic form in order to create the body of our character. And so you probably have ideas already as to what type of body you're going to have. So say, for example, if you're working with a young, like a child, or you're working with a certain type of a dog, or you're whatever the character is, doesn't really matter. But you're going to want to look for them, right? And so you want to look for something also that has multiple poses. So I'm going to go with female comic body reference, and then I'll put in multiple poses. And I'm just going to go and look and see what's out there, right? So I'm going to go to images because I want to see all the different images. And there I can see there's lots and lots and lots of female forms, right? So here we are, lots and lots of them. And if I keep scrolling, I'm going to keep finding more. And then if I find something that's kind of in the reference that I want, and I don't need it to be, anatomically correct or anything like that. It's more of just having where the legs are and how the whole thing moves. So see how like this one's got a leg that's leaning. There's just all these different types of references. So pretty much almost any of these, like even this would do. um, you can, and anytime you need to change the reference, you can go ahead and put the same clothing on them and then pretty much kind of rebuild it. So those legs are a little long. I want something that looks a little bit more natural. So I'm just going to keep looking here and see. And that was what was taking me a second, was looking for my original reference, but I couldn't find it. So we're just starting over. And that's fine with me. So this one's like a little too short. It's like you have an idea in your mind, so you just want to keep looking. So that's not too bad. But I was hoping there'd be something with more than one thing. Okay, let's go with this one. And now notice that now I've got more coming, like that come up underneath. So here we got like a knock kneed, someone sitting down, standing, arms in different positions. So we're just going to keep looking at that. So see, there's just so many. And now it kind of is sort of cueing in onto what it is I'm looking for. So I think I'm going to go with probably this. This looks really good. All right, so here I have a front, a view, and a profile. So let me go here to visit this. Hopefully I can grab it. It's actually not too bad. This is Pinterest. They're so hard to get through to. Okay, so I guess I'll go with that one. It's a stock image. Yeah, I don't know if I don't think I want to go with that. Sorry, it's taking a second. That's what I was. Here, this one's maybe a little better. But it doesn't, yeah. Nah, I don't want to use Pinterest. I hate Pinterest. Shutterstock. So finding a reference is really an important piece. And I have a reference for this character, but for some reason it's not coming up in my computer, which doesn't surprise me. Let's try this one. We just want the character, not all the clothes. Okay, that one's not going to work. Well, this is just turning out to be great fun. Yeah, that's the one I really like, and that's on Pinterest. Hello. So I'm going to save this image. So I'm copying this image. And I want to save it. And I'm going to put it in to where I hopefully, let me just go back to where I was originally. Sheila body reference. And let me see what happens here. Hit return. And it's not showing up. So I'm just going to put this on my desktop probably. Let me go onto my desktop and make a file. And this is important because honestly, this is what happens. You do things in a hurry and then you lose them. So we'll go ahead and hit save. And now we know it's in there. So let me get this out of the way. And I'm going to go to my Illustrator file. And I'm going to go up to the top where it says File, Place. And I'm going to look for that reference that I just saved. So there's my Sheila reference. And I'm going to go to the JPEG and I'm going to bring it in. And so when I bring it in, there's what I get. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. Notice that you get like even the side arm here. So that's kind of nice. The arms can change. In this case, I'm just going to leave it big. And I'm going to crop out and just use the front image. And I'm probably not going to make these arms be kind of angled at like the way they are, but that's okay. And then I want to crop this image. So I'm going to go up to the top where it says crop and say, okay. And now I'm going to drag in my crop marks all the way over. And there's my crop that I want. And I'm going to hit apply. So there's my reference for my image. I'm just going to hold my shift key and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. There we go. So there's my image. And now I'm going to lock this. Before I do that, I want to double click the name and I'm just going to call this Sheila body reference. And I'm going to lock this layer, right? So there it is, my layers. Notice it's layers here. And now I'm going to create a new layer. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing that I would have done. And it doesn't matter. See how this is pixelated? That doesn't matter because we're going to make an Illustrator file out of it. So I'm just going to zoom in. And in this case, before I get started, I'm going to switch my fill and my stroke. So I'm going to go to my fill and I'm going to change it to, make sure it's on top, I'm going to change it to black. So I'm just going to come over here and hopefully see my, hang on, it doesn't, there's no love there. All right, we're going to do it this way. I'm just going to go in the corner and grab my black and say okay. And I'm going to make this a little bit of a wider stroke because I want to see it. So I can start with her neck or, you know, thereabouts, but I'm just going to come here and I'm going to start building her body. Now, I'm not going to build this arm. I'm just going to build her torso and then her legs, right? I just need to be able to see what I'm doing here. So there's my, you know, I'm going to kind of come down and I don't, you know, unless I'm going to have her like legs showing, like if she has short pants on or something, I'm probably going to not go in and do any of the details like around her knees. I'm not going to put in toes because she's probably always going to be wearing shoes. You know, it's all these kinds of things you can think about, like how you're going to work it out. And at any point, I can make this stroke a lot smaller. But right now, I just want to be able to see it. And I want to see what's under it. So I'm just going to, you know, do like so. And just keep coming down. And I'm working through the entire form. Now, you know, I'm putting a stroke on my forms. This is something that you can choose to do or not do. I think they look a little bit more comic-like. And even in children's books, they can tend to be kind of nice. But in a while, I'll start showing you how to make them almost look like watercolor and so on. And so I'm at this point, I just want you to kind of think about the form and how it's going to work. So I'm just going to come up here and kind of go through, and I'm going to get the other part of her torso. There we go. And I'll go up to the top, and then her neck. Now her head's going to sit on top of this, so I'm not really worried about where the neck is because that's going to be in the background. All right, so there's the first part, and I'll just call this torso and legs. Torso, neck, and legs. Right? There it is. And then I'll lock it, and I'll just turn it off for now. And then I'm going to make another layer, and I'm going to call this one arms. And I'm just going to start up here, and I'm going to kind of go through and make an arm really simply. And I mean, you can go in and, you know, do your edges. And in this case, you know, you probably would want to put in some fingers. See how like sharp that looks? So, you know, that's going to be, let me just get rid of a couple of those. For now, I'm not going to put in all these fingers because I would probably do that later and then merge it. So let me just do this first, because one thing about the pen tool and also the pencil tool is when you try to go back on itself, it sort of isn't very friendly. It likes to find a very perfect kind of a stroke. So if I try to like slip this up here and so it's like, no, I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to go in here now, and I'm going to go back to my anchor point tool and drag it out and just round it out in any place that I feel like I need to. Okay. So see how if I curve it the wrong way, I get like a weird curve. I don't want that. So the fast key for the direct selection tool, always have to click off and grab the white one, is the A key. To get to your anchor point tool, it's Shift C. So now see how it changed, and now it's in Shift C. That looks pretty weird. So, and then back to A, Shift C, A. See how I can just like really fast just come back and forth. So I went in this direction, so when I pull it in that direction. If I pull it in this direction, it'll twist. So I don't want to do that. I want to pull it in the direction I made it. So I know when I came back up, I was going straight upwards. So that's why I'll move my anchor point straight upwards. So that looks pretty good. Let's Command 0 and 0 out. And there's my arm. And so I'll just call that arm. And then I'm going to grab it and make another one. Command C or Control C. Command V. There's my second arm. Object, transform, and reflect. And there's my other arm. Say OK. And at this point, I can twirl this around any way I need to. So if I want it to be kind of up like this, however, I'm going to kind of bring it over more to the side of her body, because I didn't really want them sticking straight out like that. All right. And then I'll turn the body back on. And then if I go ahead and grab all of this stuff, so I'll grab this, and notice that I can grab things from more than one layer by holding my Shift key. Now I'm going to go in and give her a skin tone. And let's kind of get more in there. And let's find something. And that's probably okay. And now if I want to change the size of this stroke, I can come up here and go ahead and change the size of that stroke. And I can also change, remember my stroke palette that I put over here? I can also change it thick to thin and give it some kind of variation. Let's go back and make that a little bigger so you can see what that looks like. So if I turn this other layer off, now you can see what I have. And so it's you can see where it would be easy for me to just click off, grab this one, let's turn it up. And now I'm going to put these arms behind her. So I can do it a couple ways. The best way would be just drag this down underneath. So there's like kind of a facsimile of what my arms might look like. Now I'm not going to leave her like that, but this is just a way for me to get started. So again, we can lock all of these, turn our reference off. And at this point, if I want to bring her face in, I've got her face right over here. I'm going to grab it, Command C, and then go back to the one I was just working on and go Command V. And say, okay, yes. And let's, actually, I don't want it on that layer. So see how I kind of made a mistake? So I'm just going to drag that little box up and then drag that layer to the top. Maybe. Come on. There we go. And obviously she's way too big, isn't she? So what do I have to do? I'm going to bring her down to fit this body. And I'm probably going to get rid of her neck now because I don't really need it. So let's scroll down and find it. And there's her eyes. There's this. And what's a faster way to do it? Double click it and isolate and hit delete. Okay. And now I notice that her skin tone and her face, now maybe I want her face a little bit bigger. So let me twirl this back up. If I have her whole head and all of this eyes and everything on one layer, all I have to do is click the circle and I get the whole thing. So I think, oh, she could be a little bigger. So let's make her just a little bigger, not too much bigger. But something like that. Maybe that's a little too big. I don't know. I can't tell. I'd play around with it. And the other thing is I want to change her skin tone now so that and notice I have that locked. So I want to change her skin tone to match the skin tone of the face. So I'm going to use the eyedropper and I'm just going to click and now it's all in the same color. And I can keep going. So what I did was to just kind of show you, I built another one. And in that one, I did do some different hands. And you notice that I put in clothing. And there it is. And like I just did a shirt and pants. Let's make sure everything's unlocked. Right? Some shoes. And then at will, I can change them. I can make these long sleeved. I can do whatever I want, right? So it's a pretty basic proposition to be able to dress them. It's almost like paper cutout dolls. So at that point, you can really make this be whatever you want it to be. You don't have to keep rebuilding the wheel. Right? Okay. So I'm going to stop this recording, this little tutorial, but you can see how quickly you can get your basic character started. All right, I'm going to stop now.